Hello, Rhode Island. I'm Richard Barr, your RI lead guy, coming to you today with my good friend Mike Checko from Good Deeds Painting. And we're going to be tackling today one of the most hot button issues in lead safety today, old wood windows. Now, whether you're looking to get your property ready for a lead safety inspection or you've already had one and you're looking to see what your options may be, stay tuned for the next few minutes and we'll be happy to tell you. Now, to define what we mean by an old wood window, this is any original window to a house built before 1978 that has either a wooden sash, a wooden track, or a wooden well, which is where the sash sits on the sill plate. And if any of those components are painted, we have a lead paint issue. This is due to the fact when you have two components that rub together, such as a sash on a frame or a sash on a sill, then it's going to create either an impact surface or a friction surface. That's grinding that paint into a fine dust particle, which almost every time in an old wood window will be present with lead paint. Now consider this window we have here behind us. If you look at it here, it clearly has a painted wood sash. The tracks themselves are not painted, but then the well underneath, or the sill plate, is painted. Now, there's a grinding between the different components and an impact of the ones at the bottom. This is an issue. And you have two options as to how to remediate. You can either retrofit the window, which we'll be describing to you today, or you can do a full replacement of the window. Now, Mike, what I wanted to talk to you about today, what do you think are some of the options as to why somebody would want to retrofit a window instead of replacing them completely?
It's a good question. It's really up to the individual. Some of the common things that I hear people talk about is the aesthetics. There are people that really like the look of a wood window, and so they want to keep that look. There's also historical reasons. Oftentimes people may live in a historical district, and the city requires them to keep the original windows that they have with the home. Another big topic is cost. It can be very costly sometimes to put a replacement window into a custom opening. It can be costly on a consumer, and it can oftentimes be less expensive to retrofit the window.
Now, with all those things in mind, Mike, what are the methods that you're then going to use to get this window both lead compliant and lead safe?
Great, I'm glad you asked that question. The first thing we want to do is make sure everything that we do is up to the standards of the Rhode Island Health Department. So we want to make sure that we're eliminating the friction surfaces of where the windows go up and down. So we make a custom jamb liner that fits in here, so as you're operating the window, it no longer has that friction surface. The other point that we need to consider is when the window closes and it lands on the sill, there's impact there. So we want to make sure that we put a cover in there, eliminating the impact and creating a situation where there's no more lead hazard on the window. Okay, great. So now here we can see the middle of the process, the sashes, the windows, they've been taken out. We brought them to our workshop to work on them in a safe location to eliminate dust in the house. We can see that there are tracks now installed on the window, which will help prevent the lead from being a hazard as the windows go up and down. We've also added this aluminum sill cover on the bottom to prevent any impact of lead paint that's being disturbed in that area as well.
Now, what do you feel are some of the benefits that are working with a professional like yourself rather than just somebody pulling apart the window on their own accord and having you actually come in and do the work?
I think that would be hard for someone who's not used to taking these windows out, especially when they're old. They can break, glass can shatter, there's a lot of moving parts that perhaps haven't been moved in years, where the windows haven't been serviced or maintained properly. Working with the materials to make the custom jamb liners, you really need to be accurate when you're making those cuts. They can actually be dangerous to work with. You can cut yourself. Also efficiency, we can get these windows done quick so that you're not without windows in the home for too long. Okay, so now we're on to the finished product. In this case, we have an example of a finished window where this customer had a particular taste where they wanted all the paint to be stripped off the window. But as you can see on this particular window, now that it's done, the jamb liners have been put in accurately cut to eliminate the friction surface from the lead. We have the covering here on the well to make sure that there's no impact zone there to pass a lead hazard, and they operate freely. And then now it'd be up to our inspector if they're going to pass.
Now, for my purposes, this is all absolutely perfect. So all we're going to be looking for in my clearance inspection is that those tracks have been installed that eliminate the friction up and down. The impact surface of the sill, as Mike was alluding to, has been removed. And now these are going to be able to operate without any friction whatsoever. We're going to test the operation of each individual window, take a representative sampling of dust to make sure that none of it's been left present. Otherwise, we're going to be all in good shape to go. Now, Mike, going on to our next thought process, what do you think as a professional is the more cost-effective option for the average person? Obviously, these people went above and beyond, but is it normally more cost-effective, in your opinion, to be doing a retrofit or to fully replace the windows?
It's a good question. It really depends on the situation. Every situation is a little bit different. We might have a client that has a particular taste and they enjoy the beautiful look of a restored wood window. They're well maintained and they can last up to 100 years. Others may want to do a replacement. It may help them in the long run for their situation to be able to prepare for their future use of the property. When it comes to the wood windows, the other element that's effective is the cost. It can be cheaper to retrofit a window in this capacity as opposed to replacing. So really it's up to the client. Sometimes there's even tax incentives, I understand. You could probably talk more about that.
Right, and so it depends on what you end up doing. Doing a retrofit like this, you might be able to qualify for a small amount of a tax credit. Full replacement gets you a larger one. And we at Leadsafe Inspections are more than happy to have that conversation with anybody on your case-by-case basis to see what's the best option for you. Now, an important note as we're talking about things such as tax incentives. This retrofitting standard that we're talking about today is what's called a lead-safe practice, not a lead-free practice. Your larger incentives are going to be from replacement of the windows because you're removing the lead. This is a safety practice. You're stripping all the paint from it that's going to be an issue potentially, and you're eliminating the friction. But any paint that's left over has to be upkept. Otherwise, you'll once again be out of compliance. So as a quick recap to bring this full circle, wood windows are one of the most prevalent issues with Rhode Island's lead painting regulations today. It's responsible for a large number of lead poisonings. Now you have a couple of options as to what to deal with it. You can either retrofit the windows, as we've described today, with aluminum tracks and aluminum wells, or full replacement of the window. You can have some tax incentives for doing either or, and whatever's the most cost-effective option for you, we'll definitely be able to make happen. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Our goal is to give you all the information that you need to be able to make an informed decision as to what is the best option for you to get your property into lead-safe compliance. If you'd like to work with myself or Mike, please follow the information that's included in this video to submit a request either for a consultation of work as well as an inspection today. And once again, I'm Richard Barr, your RI lead guy with Leadsafe Inspections.
I'm Mike Checko from Good Deeds Painting and Renovating and look forward to working with you.
And helping you get the lead out.